Hello, welcome to Scented Pages. Welcome and welcome back to my channel, baby. I went to the library and I want to show you what I got. Oh, but first, of course, the perfume. I never showed you all this beautiful bottle. My daughter got this for me. This is my favorite bottle that I have. My daughter got me this reusable bottle, and I filled it with perfume from a sweet friend of mine. She's my co-worker, and she always gives me these nice bottles of perfume that smell so good. So I oh my god. I sprayed too much of it, caught me the wrong way. But yeah, she always gives me the best smelling perfumes, and so I poured her, it's like oil, and I put it in here, but it just smells so good. And look at how it sprays. It smells, well, maybe you can't see it, but let me not overdo it before I choke again. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to show you this because it's so cute. And it's going to be a part of my video display, so you'll see it there. So that's the little story behind that. It comes from my daughter, the love of my life. I love her so much, and it's so thoughtful. That's what I love most about it, is that it's so perfectly me, and she really, really thought about it. So sweet. Mwah. Chef's kiss for the girl and the perfume bottle. So there's that. So yes, I went to the library. Now, I got some personal books that I'm not going to read the synopsis for. But real quick, I got Nigga, The Strange Career of a Troublesome Word. I actually would really like to, find out about that, by Randall Kennedy. Then I got Chicken Soup for the African American Soul, which is just a compilation of different little good stories and tidbits from different Black people. W.E.B. Du Bois. I think it has Sojourner Truth's poem in here, Ain't I a Woman? Yeah, I had folded it. It's beautiful. I like that poem by her. Yeah. And then I got also Sorrow's Kitchen, The Life and Folklore of Zora Neale Hurston by Mary E. Lyons. This is like a her, not an autobiography, but a biography of her. I think that she incorporates or is telling a story. Let me see. Hi, John. Well, I don't know. I guess it really doesn't matter because I don't want to tell the synopsis of it. But, yes. So it's Mary E. Lyons. It's about Zora Neale Hurston. And I got Women, Race, and Class by Angela Davis. I'm interested in reading that too. Can't wait. That's going to be a fun nonfiction. And then I have Dust Tracks on a Road by Zora Neale Hurston. I have been in my Zora era. I had watched a documentary on her, and the documentary about her life was so interesting. I wanted to read at least something by her and see, the fruits of this amazing woman, because her life was pretty awesome up until she had some bad experiences with Black leadership of that time. So think the Richard Wrights, the Langston Hughes, not Black leadership, but the Renaissance era artists, the men of that time period. She had a lot of problems with them and people smearing her name and lying on her and things. It was an interesting documentary. I really like learning about her. So I wanted to get as much as I could about her and something by her. So there's that. Then I also got, so I'm going to start off with my, so I guess this will be science fiction. Yes, this is science fiction. Again, science fiction. So I'll start off with my science fiction and then I'll get into my thrillers. because those are the ones that I'm really excited about. So I got 2 science fictions. It takes a lot for me to get into science fiction. Like I don't know. Like I said before, science fiction and fantasy really have to grip me quickly for me to stick with it. But I'm giving it a try. So I'm trying to be open-minded, and especially with this one. This one I was really, really curious about. By N.K. Jemisin. She's good. She's a good science fiction author. I started reading this, and I liked it. And then her reviews, the people that have written about her books, written the reviews and things, they all seem to like her and sing her praises a whole lot. So we'll see. This is just short stories that she has written. So it says, N.K. Jemisin is one of the most powerful and acclaimed speculative fiction authors of our time. In the first collection of her short fiction, which includes several never-before-seen stories, Jemisin equally challenges and delights with narratives of destruction, rebirth, and redemption. Dragons and hateful spirits haunt the flooded streets of New Orleans in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. In a parallel universe, a utopian society watches our world, trying to learn from our mistakes. A black mother in the Jim Crow South must save her daughter from a fae offering impossible promises. And in the Hugo Award-nominated short story, The City Born Great, a young street kid fights to give birth to an old metropolis soul. So yeah, so it's just her short stories of different types of, I would say maybe Afrofuturistic stories and settings and things. It sounds really interesting. So I'm going to give that a try. She has another series. If I like this, she has a series that looked interesting that I saw on Amazon. I might get into if this sits well with me. So we'll see. Then I also got This World Is Not Yours by Kemi Ashing Giwa. And it says, after fleeing her controlling and murderous family with her fiancé, Vin, Amara embarks on a colonization project. New Bella form, along with her childhood friend. Oh, okay, wait, let me read that again. Sorry, I read it wrong. Hold on. Okay. There's a lot of comments. All right, I gotta read it in one fell go. After fleeing her controlling and murderous family with her fiancé, Vin, Amara embarks on a colonization project, New Bella form, along with her childhood friend, Jessie. The planet, beautiful and lethal, produces the gray and self-cleaning mechanism that New Bellaform scientists are certain only attacks invasive organisms, consuming them. Humans have been careful to do nothing to call attention to themselves until a rival colony wakes the gray. As Amara, Vin, and Jessie work to carve out a new life together, each is haunted by past betrayals that surface, exuberated by the need to survive the rival colony and the planet itself. There's more than one way to be eaten alive. That sounds interesting. That last sentence is what made me put it in my bag. Mm-hmm. Then I have some good thrillers. Let me see. I told myself I wasn't going to get many books from the library. I said, I'm going to just drop off what I have and maybe get one or, maybe two at the most. I'm going to just get 4 books. I got 14. I was in the library for hours just reading and enjoying myself. So there you have it. Here is what I got. The fruits of my labor. Let me see. Are they all? Yes, they're all facing the same way. Yay. Okay, let's get into it. You Can Trust Me by Sophie McKenzie. Oh, and I forgot. I got some mango pineapple tea. I should have made a hot toddy. But I just have some tea. It's good. Okay. So it says, on a quiet gray Saturday morning, Livy arrives for a lunch date at the apartment of her best friend Julia, only to find her dead. Though all the evidence supports it, Livy cannot accept the official ruling of suicide. The Julia she remembers was loud, inappropriate, joyful, outrageous, and loving, not depressed. Her doubts drive Livy to dig further until she uncovers a shocking clue and is suddenly forced to confront a horrifying possibility that Julia was murdered by the same man who killed Livy's sister, Kara, 18 years ago. Desperate to understand the tragedies of her past and hold her unraveling life together, Livy throws herself into the search for Kara and Julia's killer, who she now believes is someone close to her family. I mean, I would too. Goodness. But if that is true, is there anyone she can still trust? Damien, the man Julia was secretly dating, Leo, her husband's boss and a close family friend, his son Paul, her husband's best friend since college, or even Will, her own dear husband, who has betrayed her perhaps one time too many. And when Livy finally faces her sister's killer, and he traps her with one horrible, impossible choice, she must finally decide, is she strong enough to trust herself? Honey, that sounds good. Then, okay, we have Mrs. Death, Mrs. Death by Selena Godden. I read that wrong. Selena Godden. Godden. Okay, so it says, Mrs. Death has had enough. She is exhausted from spending eternity doing her job, and now she seeks someone to unburden her conscience to. Wolf Wilford, a troubled young writer, is well acquainted with death, but until now hadn't met Death in person, a black working-class woman who shapeshifts and does her work unseen. Enthralled by her stories, Wolf becomes Mrs. Death's scribe and begins to write her memoirs. Using their desk as a vessel and a conduit, Wolf travels across time and place with Mrs. Death to witness deaths of past and present and discuss what the future holds for humanity. As the two reflect on the losses they have experienced, or in the case of Mrs. Death, facilitated, their friendship grows into a surprising affirmation of hope, resilience, and love. All the while, despite her world weariness, Death must continue to hold humans' fates in her hands, appearing in our lives when we least expect her. Ain't that true? It was interesting, so I said I'd give it a go. Until You're Mine, a novel by Samantha Hayes. So, you're alone, you're vulnerable, and you have something that someone else wants at any cost. Claudia Morgan Brown finally has it all. Pregnant with a much-wanted first baby of her own, she has a happily established family of 2 young stepsons and a loving husband with a great career. But she is also committed to her full-time job as a social worker, and her husband travels often. So when Claudia hires Zoe to help her around the house in anticipation of the baby's arrival, it seems like the answer to her prayers. But despite Zoe's glowing recommendations and instant rapport with the children, there's something about her that Claudia cannot trust. Isn't there always? Moreover, there has been a series of violent attacks on pregnant women in the area, and Claudia becomes acutely aware of her vulnerability. With her husband out of town for work and her family far away, who will be there to protect her? And why does she feel unsettled about Zoe? Realizing appearances can be deceiving, even in her seemingly perfect world, Claudia digs deeper into Zoe's blurry past and begins to wonder, how far would someone go to have a child of her own? Ooh. Riveting from its first pages, Until You're Mine is a multi-layered masterwork of twisted psychological suspense, with a shocking finale that will have readers everywhere talking, oh wow. But that part of how far would someone go to have a child of her own is reminding me of The Crash that I just read. That Freida McFadden book, that was good, and it's kind of giving, this book is kind of giving that book a little bit. Next, I'm Not Done With You Yet. See, I like a good title. I mean, I guess, right? Until Your Mind sounds good. Like, what you mean, until your mind? I'm Not Done With You Yet. Ooh, by Jessie Q. Sutanto. Honey, these names are gonna get the best of me every time. It's spelled, okay, so it's Jessie Q. Sutanto. And if any of these authors hear me butchering their names, I apologize. So, I'm not done with you yet. Some friends and friendships are worth killing for in this dark, twisty suspense novel by national best-selling author Jessie Q. Sutanto, I'm going to say. Jane's unhappy. A struggling, midless writer whose novels barely command four figures, she feels trapped in an underwhelming marriage, just scraping by to pay a crippling Bay Area mortgage for a house, a life she never really wanted. There's only ever been one person she cared about, one person who truly understood her. Thalia, Jane's best and only friend, nearly a decade ago during their creative writing days at Oxford. It was the only good year of Jane's life. Cobblestone and books and damp English air, heady wine and sweet cider, and Thalia, endless Thalia. But then, one night ruined everything. The blood-soaked night that should have bound Thalia to Jane forever, but instead made her lose her completely. Thalia disappeared without a trace, and Jane has been unable to find her since. Until now. Ooh. Because there she is. Her name at the top of New York Times bestseller list. A Most Pleasant Death by Thalia Ashcroft. When Jane discovers a Facebook post from Thalia on her website about attending a book convention in New York City in a week, can't wait to see you there, she can't wait either. She'll go to New York City too. Credit card bill be damned. And this time she'll do things right. Jane won't lose Thalia again. That sounds good. What in the world does that mean, though? What do you mean? Okay, so then I have the last three. These aren't thrillers. These are just 2 novels and a memoir. So, Marked at Birth by Teresa A. Campbell. And look at the cover of this. She has, it looks like vitiligo. So, Marked at Birth says, what do you do if people say you are born with the mark of the devil? Especially in Jamaica, where many believe in the spirits of good and evil. If you are Bella Pigmore, born with a birthmark so pronounced that she faces ridicule for most of her young life. Oh, it's a birthmark. It looked like that vitiligo at first. You feel bad, very bad. Growing up feeling like a freak, Bella clings to the only support she has, her mother. But when her mother dies under mysterious circumstances, and she is left alone with her abusive father, Bella suffers dearly at the hands of the man who should protect her. Leaving her hometown of Clarendon, Jamaica behind, Bella travels to a new town, hoping to become invisible in a parish where she isn't known by anyone. But once again, the people she should be able to trust betray her in the worst possible way. Bella becomes a pawn in a twisted, treacherous plot with murderous ramifications. As her life spirals out of control, will she find the power and resilience to fight for the only thing that now matters in her life? Will Bella be able to rise above her low self-esteem to realize that she is beautiful and wonderfully made in the image of God? That sounds good. We'll see. This is also seems kind of heavy, and I gotta be in the mood for like serious heavy. Like I could do heavy, but not heavy heavy. I gotta be in the mood for heavy heavy. It depends on where this is going, so we'll see. I'm gonna definitely read the other ones first before I get into that. And then I have an Elin Harris book. I like Elin Harris. I've read by him before. I know that he was gay, so a lot of his books center around the LGBTQ ABCDEFG community. And that always gives me a thrill and gives me life. So I picked him up when I saw him. It's Elin Harris and R.M. Johnson, No One in the World. It says, the untimely passing of the beloved New York Times bestseller, Elin Harris, has left fans pining for more. With this collaboration, fans are given the book they've been clamoring to read, and the book that Harris and Essence best-selling author R.M. Johnson long wanted to write. Kobe Winslow, a handsome, well-dressed, educated district attorney, knows nothing about the life of his estranged twin brother, Eric Reed, a career criminal raised in a foster care system. Following their parents' death, Kobe searches for and finds his brother, hoping to regain lost years. Meanwhile, Kobe navigates the pressures of society as he lives life in the closet. The stress comes to a head when he learns that in order to inherit the wealth of his father's estate and save the struggling family business, he must marry a woman before he turns 35. The task becomes more convoluted when Kobe's sister proposes to pay Austin Greer, a once successful and wealthy businesswoman who lost everything in the recession, to be Kobe's wife. My goodness, not a beard. Sexual stuff. Eric discovers Kobe is gay and promises to keep it a secret. Instead, he entrusts the information to his former prison cellmate, Black, who endears himself to Kobe in hopes of securing a $150,000 loan from him to pay back a debt racked up by cocaine sales. As the clock runs down, both on Black's effort to pay his deadly creditor and on Kobe's attempts to save the family company, rash moves are executed, family and friendship bonds are tested, and life-altering sacrifices are made. And we'll also see about this one. I'm going to read some of my other ones first, and then if I get around to it and feel like it, then I'll give that one a go. And then I have Trevor Noah's Born a Crime. I've been wanting to read this one for a long time. I always found his story interesting because I always find the situation in South Africa with them being segregated and apartheid under the system of apartheid until the mid-90s. Very interesting. And being able to hear recent stories of people really being oppressed because still in this day and age. Like, I mean, I know that it happens and all that, but I mean, like, it was the 90s and they were still following these weird segregation laws. It's so weird because, like, I was born in the 90s. Like, what you mean in Africa there was still segregation? Not I was born in the 90s, but I was alive in the 90s. Like, you think of stuff like that being over and done with in the 50s and 60s, 70s, you know what I mean? Way back in time. Not the 90s. And then still dealing with the outcome of it, in, like, now times. Goodness. That's a whole lot. But anyway, Trevor Noah, born a crime. Yeah, I think his story is interesting. I wanted to know about it. So it says Trevor Noah's unlikely path from apartheid South Africa to the desk of The Daily Show began with a criminal act, his birth. Trevor was born to a white Swiss father and a black, I can't pronounce this word, XHOSA mother, at a time when such a union was punishable by 5 years in prison. Living proof of his parents' indiscretion, Trevor was kept mostly indoors for the earliest years of his life, bound by the extreme and often absurd measures his mother took to hide him from the government that could at any moment steal him away. Finally liberated by the end of South Africa's tyrannical white rule, Trevor and his mother set forth on a grand adventure, living openly and freely and embracing the opportunities won by a centuries-long struggle. Born a Crime is the story of a mischievous young boy who grows into a restless young man as he struggles to find himself in a world where he was never supposed to exist. It is also the story of that young man's relationship with his fearless, rebellious, and fervently religious mother, his teammate, a woman determined to save her son from the cycle of poverty, violence, and abuse that would ultimately threaten her own life. The stories collected here are by turns hilarious, dramatic, and deeply affecting. Whether subsisting on caterpillars for dinner during hard times, being thrown from a moving car during an attempted kidnapping, or just trying to survive the life and death pitfalls of dating in high school, Trevor illuminates his curious world with an incisive wit, incisive wit, and unflinching honesty. His stories weave together to form a moving and searingly funny portrait of a boy making his way through a damaged world in a dangerous time, armed only with a keen sense of humor and a mother's unconditional love. Oh, that's sweet. I actually really, really want to read this. I like a good memoir and learning about people's lives and different perspectives of people's lives and things that other people have gone through. I love other people's stories. They are just the most interesting stories to me. Is the real life-ish that people have gone through. So there's that. That's going to wrap it up for me. Let me see. I am almost done with The Prada Plan by Ashley Antoinette. I'm so loving that book. It's so funny because I'm reading it with another girlfriend of mine. And I'm having such a ball reading this book with her and texting her about it and us talking back and forth about it. It has been so much fun. That book is so juicy. So I think I'm definitely gonna finish that book up between today and tonight. I should be done it by tomorrow, definitely. Also, I started Fairy Tale by Stephen King. Loving that. I think I'm about 150 or so, maybe a little bit more pages into that. I left it in the living room. So I'm enjoying that. What else? I've got a video coming up for, I definitely want to make a video for Prada Plan. I want to make a video for Love 101. Yeah, and then I'll be doing some little like reading updates. Because I also read a Geneva Rose book, Home is Where the Bodies Are. Oh, it was so good. I liked it so much. I had to definitely retract my statement when I asked where Geneva Rose was the queen of twists, because that last book just didn't twist my Twizzler. It just wasn't doing it for me. But that Home is Where the Bodies Are. Good quality Twizzler twisting is what I like about it. That one had me all the way excited. The twist, I didn't see it coming. The first twist, I didn't see it coming. So I'll probably get into a more in-depth review of that one when I do a reading update. Now, other than that, I will see you all next time.